Good morning and welcome back to the Glasshouse Festival, Poetry from Around the World. We bring to you 85 plus poets coming together in support of creative people impacted by COVID. The Glasshouse Festival is wholly promoted by the Art Mantram Trust, which is a not-for-profit organization out of Bangalore, India, that has been promoting the arts, artists, and art awareness since 1999. This session is The Mirror Smiles Back, Subcontinental Poetry. We have with us on the panel Khalil Mamoon Saab, Shalim Hussain, Huzaifa Pandit, and our moderator Sanket Matre. Sanket Matre is a renowned poet, lyricist, and curator who started his literary career with Kavyotsav 2001, the first bilingual poetry festival featuring Marathi and Kannada literature. Since then, he has continued apace and is now at our festival. I hand over to Sanket. Thank you, Sanket.
Hello and welcome to Glasshouse Festival. These times have restricted our existence to tiny square windows. But today, we'll try to fill them up with words, poetry, meaning, and a deeper understanding that our existence cannot be contained in any shape. In our shapelessness lies the beauty of our lives, and in our formlessness lies the perfect symmetry of our existence. And what shapes our existence more than poetry? So here we are in this beautiful subcontinental poetry section with some of the most well-known and well-read poets from the Indian subcontinent. Just the way Pablo Neruda once said, and it was at that age poetry arrived. And it was at that age poetry arrived in search of me. I don't know where. I don't know where it came from winter or a river. I don't know how or when. No, they were not voices. They were not words nor silence. But from a street I was summoned, from the branches of night, abruptly from the others, among violent fires, or returning alone. There I was without a face, and it touched me. Our first poet comes from a place we all love, Kashmir. Because Kashmir isn't just a place, it's a poem which is stuck between a valley and a mountain range. Huzaifa Pandit is the author of Green is the Color of Memory, which won the first edition of Rhythm Divine Poets Chapbook Contest 2017. Huzaifa's poems talk about despair, they talk about defiance, resistance, and compliance, and he tries to make sense of the world around him through his poems. Please welcome Huzaifa Pandit in becoming our first poet for the session, and let's try to enrich ourselves with his poetry. Over to you, Huzaifa.
Thank you. I'm grateful to you and for the festival to have invited me. And I'm really pleased to be sharing the screen with Shalim here because it's one of the favorite translators and I've been long wanting to meet him. So really pleased. When will the other barbarians come along? It starts with a quote from T.S. Eliot. History has many cunning passages, contrived corridors, and issues deceives with whispering ambitions. When will the other barbarians come along? When the skies of her nightmares are abducted and brittle drums of her silence roll, brittle drums of her silence will roll, the hunger will wrench open with their antlers, the bitter jailum of graves, which flows from Gangavkadal to Scotch Sopo. But why should you care? What have your children and dreams got to do with the hunger or nightmares? The bitter seas will be upturned, and the fated barbarians will arrive. The barbarians will win the flooded cities from defeated history and draw the new capital on a map of massacres. And why should you care? And why should you care? What have your children and maps got to do with flooded cities and massacres? Other maps will be drawn, and the fated barbarians will march. The emperor will fly again on the white horses across the glass mountains of rubble. Fathers will arm sons again and declare intent. Hamlavar Khabardar, Hum Kashmiri hai taiyar. Invaders, be forewarned duly, we Kashmiris stand ready. And why should you care? What have your horses and emperors got to do with invaders and the long vigil? The second poem I'm going to read is Ghulam Rasul is called We Were Two. It starts with a couplet by Ghulam Rasul Nazki, who is a Kashmiri Urdu poet. The couplet in Urdu is आज फिर छेड़ी है तुमने मेरे अरमानों की बात काविश जख्म जिगर के ताज़ा अफसानों की बात. Yet again today you rake the subject of desires of my heart, fresh tales of salting the wounds of my heart. Ghulam Rasul Nazki. And the poem starts, we were two and sought to be one. We had a name and we awaited our barbarians to write to us on our addresses of brilliant water. We awaited our names, crushed to red varnish, as in the poems, and longed for the desert stranger, where the strangers find themselves in lost strangers. What remained of the shadows of our garden? Excuse me. What remained of the shadows of our garden in the last massacre? Show us what you will when we warm the torn ivy of your blood and hide from us what you will. We promise to walk singing from where the dust falls on two mazars at once and ask for our addresses. We walk looking for them south of our songs left in the mouths of the long dead. Find our tomorrow, which comes a full circle from our yesterday. We live there, we die there, where else to go but there. When your heart desires so, call out to us. We are there, where we always were, where else but there. We were two and yearned to be one stranger, walk to the river, east of the book of promised massacres, and swim in the mirrors of our longing. You may find our red sky of water, and the gods ground to dust, and the gods ground to dust, standing guard on the graves of our glass maps. What was there in our house that your grief would have driven out? That desire to tear our shadows apart stays as unkempt grief weeps on the walls of our ruin. Quick, the soldier says, you have three brief stays in the prisons of yesterday's sky. Spring, summer, autumn, before the winter comes for the roses and robs them of their moods. When the snow appears on our daffodils like weary silver, we feed the pigeons in the mazar our lost songs and remember the freedom of the stone. We walk to your statues and trust the scent of our blood. The last poem I'm going to read is titled This is the Way Autumn Hid. This is the way autumn hid. This was actually written post August 5, when Kashmir was put under an unprecedented curfew and communication blockade. August, September, we have September autumn starts. So we didn't have that this year. So it's a poem called This is the Way Autumn Hid. This is the way autumn hid in our hearts, cornered by cruel April, mixing death with desire. Asylum is no longer in fashion, and frankly, are we not already burdened by refugees? We drummed our denial. It insisted, break open your hearts and blot with my pale blood your redrawn maps of doom, stashed inside your hearts by the hunters of the long night. So we settled to be the rightful inheritors of madness, sowing lone and level sands in itchy spring, while musk roses cried their fragrant eyes, out over the empty graves of our moon. When our moon fell from the pear tree in ripe August, we were overtaken by an urge to weep. When our moon fell from the pear tree in ripe August, we were overtaken We were overtaken by an urge to weep. Our tears lurked unshed in the whispers of urgent friends behind barbed wire. We petitioned both city and forest to bury our shame. They were pleased to decline in the interests of administration. We never expected any better from the fenced city, but the forest too betrayed us. We weaved watchtowers in winter from the stale snow, dozing on destitute mulberry trees. Everyone took trees, everyone took turns to look out for the ghost of the ruined summer. Every night we lured it with the silver, every night we lured it with the silver minted from our moon and bribed the gods. Every night we lured it with the silver minted from our moon and bribed the gods of Paisley with the autumnal scent of her saffron. The ghost never bit our banquet but once. We asked it, we have done our duty. Has a new god been anointed for us? Will things be over now? We have hunted all pigeons of our past and slaughtered all sparrows that fly in and out of our dreams. Are things over now? It only replied, how many times can things be over? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Josefa. This has been a beautiful start to the entire poetry session. Voices which are defiant and voices which are trying to find a new meaning in a world of displacement. Josefa Pandit's poems kind of resonate a lot with today's generation, with a lot of contemporary literature has to offer. I'm really glad that he's a part of this session. Subcontinental poetry obviously is one of the most important facets of literature. And I'm really glad that there are so many poets who are expressing, and their expression is coming across in multiple ways, breaking through barriers, breaking through formats and breaking through mediums. So that is one of the most important things which are kind of shaping Indian literature today. Mumbai-based poet Vinita Agarwal has written a brilliant poem about writers without borders. So one of the part in her poem reads like this. Yet my fellow pen, fellow nib, fellow hand, though the needle of pain pierces your darkened veins, write, write so that man may understand man. Write sans borders, fences, frontiers. Make thick the river of sentiments. Call swiftly for peace, for love. And I believe that all of us poets do have this responsibility at the helm of all our writing. With this thought in my mind and heart, I invite the next poet in the session, Shalim Hussain. Delhi-based poet Shalim Hussain and his Mia poetry provides the metaphorical loudspeaker to the long-ignored voices of Bengali Muslims living in the riverine plains of Brahmaputra. Shalim Hussain's poetry documents their life, their love, their longing, and the way they are trying to make sense of their existence and their identity. Shalim, now it's all in your hands, and you have to enrich us with your poetry. Here you go, Shalim.
Thank you, Sanket, and thank you for having me here. It's nice to read in the company of Hufeza and Khalil Sahab. I'll read just one poem, which is titled I Loved You. It's a verse history of growing up in Guwahati and in Assam. So I'll just read the poem. I loved you. I loved you between a hill and a river. Before the planned encounter at a hospital cafeteria, were caught between the smell of phenyl and what you joked was treated human flesh in a chicken patty, I tried looking into your eyes, but skied down the sharp rise of your cheek and first felt in the fluffy sweet of your shampoo the softness of your hair. At JB's, first a pizza, then 3 cups of coffee. Then when our money ran out, the owner asked if we could kindly order something else or clear the seats for customers snorting diesel fumes and tapping their feet at the door. In my head, we were already walking down Nilomani Phukon Path, our fingers engraved in each other's palms. The road curved like a lizard's tail between ZS Road and the zoo, woke and flicked us to Dispur. We fell before the gates of a new empire and slowly rose in the air on the city's first escalator. I loved you at the Regional Science Center. Under the protective gaze of a dinosaur, I left my hand on your thigh and cartwheeled around the garden, then said I had a secret that could only be whispered, caught you half aware, half smiling, and breathed the secret on your lips. Kissed you at full speed down the Ulubari flyover. A passing trucker smiled. Dheere dheere, he said. The prophet was merciless. At a speed breaker, our teeth clashed, your lip bled, but it was okay. I kissed you luck before the changing room in B. Borua College. Dusk had fallen, Hasna Henna was in the air, my hand around your waist, and that was the wisest thing to do. Kissed you on the rocks at Sankardev Kalakshetra before the open theatre was led, and in Tezpur University before Jyoti Prasad drew the blueprint. In a bus conductor's cracked voice, I asked for you at Adabari, Maligaon, Kamakhya, Bhorolomukh, Fancy Bazaar, Pan Bazaar, Digholi. There was a driver's strike, and alone I walked up a hill, found you under a radio tower at the medical college. I grabbed the railway tracks, tore the city's veins, tied you to my back, wrapped you up in Guwahati, and carried you through Laburnum's golden pink and red. We ran away to Marine Drive with Anirudh Karnik, hid under his wet sheets at the International Hostel Room of Delhi University. I loved you in the back lawn of Jamia, on a park bench while Karingpam blew smoke rings and laughed at the audacity of a bearded man fondling a girl in a burqa. At Patna, I loved you in a hotel bathroom with a leaking tap and a rusty razor blade, while the city lolled outside mad with reefer smoke. At Gaya, we drove past cacti and the soul of the Faguni river spread out to dry on the sand. A human family shielded a sow and her piglets in the shared household, and an old man appeared out of discarded paper plates and beer bottles. A 1,000-year-old Hanuman scratched on the belly of a rock, his face painted with yesterday's gulal. He guided us up Ashoka's footsteps carved in stone. I loved you in the darkness of Sudama's cave. Our eyes blazed in the flash of camera phones, and the writing on the wall burned with devotion. I loved you in purple rain and fell on my back, a sheet of paper shivering on my hands, and wrote you a final love song. Furious the thoughts came, unbridled, unbroken. I sat on my knees and scrawled, then cast the pages aside and proclaimed, I am the Jimi Hendrix of writing. A harpoon pierced my cousin's back and poked its fingernail out of his chest. Before he was buried, people wondered how a tiny trickle of blood under his breast pocket could kill him. They half accused me. The mob scaled our walls, stood on our rafters, checked if our hired killers from across the river were there. Among my father's old books, rat droppings, and the husks of empty betel nuts, they found no conspiracy. Yet they waited outside, and my mother, aunts, brothers, sisters, cousins locked themselves in. His soul entered their food, the dal grew thinner, the curries lost meat and fish. For days they had gourds from the vegetable garden with a single egg carefully placed between celebration and blandness. On the phone, rambling while half escaping through Mukalmoa, Nolbari, Borpeta, Hauli, Borpeta Road, Sorbhog, Polgasia, my head banging against the bus window, my temples swelling with blood, I finally confessed my love. I had nothing to lose. I passed the river Ofura, and my father, naked except for his underpants, shivering under the water, scribbling on his notebook, his pen burnt to cinders by the fires of 1983, raised his head. Pink hibiscus floated around his head, and he stared his disapproval. I loved you in Majerchor for 3 months in the solitary confinement of my mother's sister's husband's granary. You asked if the clucking in the background was hens. I loved you behind a public notary's desk at the Guwahati High Court before a blast threw a hammer at my ribcage, caught my breath at the corner of Ambari Masjid, caught sight of army trucks moving shyly like a fresher on high heels, a performer on stilts, trying as best as they could to hide shame, incapacity, and the disgusting smell of burnt flesh under a blue tarpaulin. I ran to Cotton College, and as ground concrete and molten rubber settled, I loved you under William Sudmerson's bust. I threw you on Jejuri and watched you crawl, your feet caught between the sticky lines, then walked a dead grass road from Anandaram Borua Hostel to the Guwahati railway station. I spat on the ground, straw, phlegm, and earth joined hands and formed gods. I could have fallen flat on the ground and prayed, but the bombs went off again. Cycle rickshaws jumped 20 feet in the air. The pan sellers grew wings and flew, and I lost faith. I loved you at Bhorolomuk, where the blackness of the drain met the cheerful grey of the river. I worshipped you with coconut water at Church Gate, with vodka at Cotton College, christened the cocktail Brahmaputra on the rocks, then stood half drunk at the Dispute Secretariat as they tore shame of a young woman's body and made her run naked through the streets. It was 2007, you were depressed. I took you to Chandubi after the river changed its course. Trees 1,000 years old stood defiant under the lake. I loved you in the clear water between the roots of history. We swam by your office on the Jorpukhuri pond, sank slowly into the Digholipukhuri bog. I loved you behind Nilomani Fukon's house, where a thin stream crawled out of a rock's butt crack. I loved you up the winding Gandhi Mandap path, mystified by your hatred for red meat, then bought you a rose, and before you left me confused like a lamppost in the middle of the market, sulfur burning in 1,000-watt bulbs, men sweating all shades of masculinity, and fish intestines clogging the drains. You leaned and whispered in my ear, I love you. I held the roses stalk in my hand and wanted. I swam on a pomfret's belly, rode towards you on a sliver of raw mango. I loved you before star anise, coriander seeds, cumin, mace, nutmeg, before biryani recipes and halim. I stole you from engineers, travel bloggers in the Indian bureaucracy, hid you under hyacinth, wood duck's eggs. Poetry shaved his head, tuned a guitar, and in a voice strong, elastic, and durable, he taught you all about finding lost boats and tethering them to the shore. He stole you from me. Beside the Brahmaputra, what remained of my heart broke like a cloud. The rains failed, the earth cracked, and the hills melted like jaggery. I hated you enough to carry a note in my pocket and loved you enough to throw it, not myself, over the Gandhi Mandap cliff. I allowed myself the silence of a sparrow, perched Batman-like on the iron palm of an incomplete high-rise, the languidness of an addict, and the oblivion of a grasshopper. I loved you before boyhood, spectacles, and my only cardigan, before beards, tobacco, and machismo, before blasphemy. I loved you before time. Thank you.
Wonderful, Shalim. I'm really, really glad that your poem not just talks about a particular sect of people, but talks about humanity at large. It also goes to Jejuri, also goes to many other parts of this country. And that truly is the power of poems, if really we have to say that, because this is how people are united through words. And Shalim's poems is one of the most important examples of today. Now, for the next poet, I'm slightly going to change the fulcrum from English to Urdu. I believe Urdu is one of the most mellifluous, rhythmic, and intricate languages of this country. To speak or to kind of enrich us once again with Urdu poetry, I call upon Dr. Khalil Mamun. Khalil Mamun has received Sahitya Academy Award for his poetry collection Afaq Ki Taraf in 2011. He has received the Rajyotsava Award from the Government of Karnataka, Lifetime Achievement Award by the Karnataka Academy, and so many more. And not just that, just to scare you a little bit more, he joined police service as Deputy Superintendent and retired as IGP. Please welcome Khalil Mamun.
Thank you, Sanket. In this session, I'm going to read out some of my poems. These poems are about When I talk about human predicament, I am reminded of an essay written by Bertrand Russell long back in his earlier days that entitled A Free Man's Worship. I am also reminded of what Rousseau stated. Man is born free, but everywhere he is in chains. Rousseau's statement was limited to the political situation, but incidentally, man is not just chained politically or to some other sector, but historically, traditionally, from the point of view of religion, from the point of view of nature, from the point of view of taking birth in this world. I try to summarize it by stating that man's journey is from a tomb to a tomb. So my poetry generally emanates from these situations. I'm going to read out a few poems written recently. The first poem, I will read out the first poem. Its title is ये दुनिया बहुत हसीन है, ये दुनिया बहुत हसीन है, जो नहीं है उसकी तलाश में निकला हूं, जो नहीं है उसकी तलाश में निकला हूं, जो है उससे मिल नहीं सकता, जो नहीं है उसकी तलाश में निकला हूं, जो है उससे मिल नहीं सकता, सदियों से मैं रिवायत का बोझ उठाए चल रहा हूं, इसे कहीं फेंक दूं तो किसी से बात नहीं कर सकता। ये सही है कि सरसब्ज वादी है, बाग है, फूल हैं, पत्ते हैं, परिंदे हैं, खुशबू है, सड़ती हुई लाशों की बदबू भी है। नीले नीले आसमान में काले काले कौवे हैं, मुर्दार की तलाश में। भरी परी दुनिया है, भरी पूरी दुनिया है, दुनिया के आगे ख्याली या फिर शायद हकीकी उक़बा है, हकीकी उक़बा है, मौत है, जिंदगी भी तो है। सब कुछ है तो क्या मैं झूठा हूं? सब कुछ है तो क्या मैं झूठा हूं? एक मन गढ़ंत जबान का तराशा हुआ जो लफ्जों के ख्याल बुन रहा है, हवा से आसमानी फूल चुन रहा है, उड़ती हुई खुशबू के पंख पकड़ रहा है। घर में अकेला बैठा, चेहरे पर नकाब, हाथों में दस्ताने पहने, मोहलिक बीमारी से बच रहा है। बाहर जाकर मरने के लिए हुकूमत के फरमान का इंतजार कर रहा है। अगर घर बैठे बैठे मर गया तो क्या सरकार या बीवी या मेरे बच्चे मुझे बचा लेंगे? इम्कान की दहलीज पर खड़ा मैं इतनी सारी सदियों से किसका इंतजार कर रहा हूं? इम्कान की दहलीज पर खड़ा मैं इतनी सारी सदियों से किसका इंतजार कर रहा हूं और क्यों? अभी तो खुद से भी मुलाकात नहीं हो पाई, अभी तो खुद से भी मुलाकात नहीं हो पाई है, किसी से कोई बात नहीं हो पाई है, अभी तो मेरी अपनी सांस भी ठीक तरह से चल नहीं पाई है। किस्मत, खुदा, जिंदगी और मौत के बाद बहुत कुछ है। किस्मत, खुदा, जिंदगी और मौत के बाद बहुत कुछ है जो मिल नहीं पाएगा। मैंने जो सदियों से जर्रा जर्रा करके सरमाया जमा किया है, क्या वो सब इस नामालूम रेले में बह जाएगा? जाते जाते मेरे कान में कोई कहानी ही कह जाएगा। मुझे तो इसका भी यकीन नहीं, मुझे तो इसका भी यकीन नहीं है। वैसे आज का उजाला तुम्हारी सूरत और ये दुनिया बहुत हसीन। वैसे आज का उजाला तुम्हारी सूरत और ये दुनिया बहुत हसीन है। इस नज़्म का उन्वान है मुँह आतिश दीदा। मुँह आतिश दीदा गालिब के एक शेर का हिस्सा है जहां उन्होंने ये कहा है कि बाल को आग कैसे लगी हुई है जिस्म की। मुझे आज गर्मी नहीं लगी, शायद मुझे झुलसने की आदत हो गई है। मुझे आज गर्मी नहीं लगी, शायद मुझे झुलसने की आदत हो गई है। किसी दहकते कोयले को धूप तो क्या, कोई जहन्नम भी क्या जला सकेगा। एक मुसलसल भड़कता शोला है दिल, तुम्हारी याद में बहाए गए आंसुओं की बारिश में इसे बुझा न सके। तुम्हारी याद में बहा गए आंसुओं की बारिश भी इसे बुझा न सकी। इश्क के थपेड़ों से आग अर्श को छू रही है, अगर फरिश्ते होते तो उसके सारे पर जल गए होते। अगर फरिश्ते होते तो उसके सारे पर जल गए होते। इस नार से शैतान भी पनाह मांगता और बहरुल काहल में डूबकर मर गया होता। आग जलती रही मगर ऐसा नहीं हुआ। आग जलती रही मगर ऐसा नहीं हुआ। इसमें सिर्फ मुझी को जलना था। अजल से अबद तक, अबद से अजल तक, किसी पहाड़ पर जलती खुदाई आग की तरह, जिसमें मेरे अपने जिस्म और मेरी अपनी रूह की मुसलसल फेंट चढ़ाई जा रही है। एक और नज्म है, इस नज्म का उन्वान है ऐ अल्लाह जाग। लोग पता नहीं किस किस चीज की पूजा करते हैं। ऐसी चीजों की पूजा करते हैं कि जो मौजूद ही नहीं है। एक जमाने में संस्कृत का एक कौल है अहम ब्रह्मस्मि, और मंसूर अल-हल्लाज ने कहा था अनल हक। अनल हक का मतलब मैं हक हूं, मैं खुदा हूं। तो इसको इस पस मंजर में भी आप देख सकते हैं। ऐ अल्लाह जाग, सूखे फूलों की थाल लरसते हाथों में लिए कब से खड़ा। सूखे फूलों की थाल लरसते हाथों में लिए कब से खड़े हैं। दस्तक दे दे कर थक गए हैं। दस्तक दे दे कर थक गए हैं। आंखें नींद से बोझल हैं। खड़े खड़े पांव शल हो गए हैं। दिल ही दरवाजा था, दिल ही दरवाजा था, काबा था, खुदा था, लाख पुकारा खुला नहीं। दिल ही दरवाजा था, काबा था, खुदा था, लाख पुकारा खुला नहीं। कोई सदा नहीं, जैसे घर मुर्दा हो। एक ही घर था, कब से सुनसान पड़ा है। एक ही घर था, कब से सुनसान पड़ा है। ऐ अल्लाह, अपनी अजली नींद से जाग। लंबी अनमिट सड़कों पर, लंबी अनमिट सड़कों पर, लंबी अनमिट सड़कों पर मर कट कर भी लोग पैदल चल रहे हैं। छालों का पीप और खून ही मरहम बन गया है। चलते चलते पटरियों पर गफलत की नींद आ गई है। बिलखते बच्चों के सूखे होंठों पर दूध तो का पानी का खतरा भी नहीं है। अंधकार में पैदा होने को, जलती धूप में अपनी जिंदा लाशों को ढोती हामिला औरतों के फूले पेटों में बच्चे तड़प रहे हैं। बच्चे तड़प रहे हैं। इन्होंने आज निराजी मुल्कों के इनकलाबी बच्चे, उनके अनजन में नन्हे हाथों में लहराते झंडे हैं, जो गिरती फसीलों का इंतजार कर रहे हैं। झुलसते रस्तों पर उनकी लड़खड़ाती लाठियां उनके डंडे हैं। नींद से आंखें खोल, वरना ये अपने गंदे हाथों से तुम्हारे पीछे पड़ जाएंगे। नींद से आंखें खोल, वरना ये अपने गंदे हाथों से तुम्हारे पीछे पड़ जाएंगे। तुम्हारे तकद्दुस की उजली चादर को मैला कर देंगे। तुम्हारी खूबसूरत मूर्तियों को दरिया बुर्द करके गंगा नहाएंगे। तुमने तो मेरे दिल का दरवाजा भी बंद कर रखा है। तुमने तो मेरे दिल का दरवाजा भी बंद कर रखा है। कहाँ छुपा बैठा है। मर्द की जात में हो तो बाहर आ, मर्द की जात में हो तो बाहर आ। बातिन में भी नहीं है, जाहिर में भी नहीं है, तू कहाँ है। तुझे तो मुंह की, लफ्जों की, किसी भी बोली की कोई जरूरत नहीं है। आवाज की भी हाजत नहीं है, आवाज की भी हाजत नहीं है। सन्नाटे में भी बोल, खामोशी में भी। इस अंधकार की कालिक में लिपटी हकीकत के पर्दे खोल। घुटन से दिल बैठा जाता है, दरवाजा तो खोल। तू आ के ना आ, ताजा हवा ही को बाहर आने दे, धूप की शिद्दत में घनघोर घटाओं को छाने दे, एक दो बूंद ही सही बारिश आने दे, प्यासी धरती की प्यास बुझा, ऐ अल्लाह जाग, मुझ ही में नहीं जागेगा तो फिर कहाँ जागेगा, मुझ ही में नहीं जागेगा तो फिर कहाँ जागेगा। इस नज़्म का उन्वान है अली बाबा की मौत। ये this poem is inspired by what one of the Christian existentialist Gabriel Marcel has stated, that the present day technology, the present day has looted the wonder that was there in man. So this has some significance to that. कितनी तूफानी गर्द उड़ी है जमाने की, सारी कड़ियां टूट गई हैं फसाने की, टूटे फूटे लफ्ज पड़े हैं चारों तरफ, हर जा हवाओं में ख्यालों के पुर्जे उड़ रहे हैं, खुल जा सिमसिम कहते कहते थक गया हूँ, चट्टानी दरवाजा गोया अपनी पहाड़ी में पैवस्त हो गया है, हैरत की दौलत तक जाने का रास्ता मसदूद है, शायद मुझको किसी इफरीत या जिन में बदलना पड़ेगा, या फिर कोई आयत या कोई वजीफा पढ़ना पड़ेगा, लेकिन क्या सब कुछ मेरे अंदर अब भी बाकी है, लेकिन क्या सब कुछ मेरे अंदर अब भी बाकी है। तुमने तो मेरे सारे अल्फाज, मेरे तखील के फव्वारों को अपने इल्म की अबलकी मट्टी से भर डाला है, सरता सर मुझको अंदर से खाली कर डाला है, अब ये ढांचा किसी काम के लायक भी नहीं है, मेरे वास्ते किसी कब्र की भी हाजत नहीं है, यूं ही किसी कूड़े क्रिकेट के ढेर में फेंक दो तो हड्डियां फास्फोरस बन जाएंगी और सब कुछ जल जाएगा, मट्टी में मिलकर हवा में उड़ जाएगा, दौलत की आस दूर पहाड़ों पर निराश की बर्फीली चोटियों में काला धब्बा बनकर रह जाएगी, धूप के आने पर पानी बनकर बह जाएगी, धूप के आने पर पानी बनकर बह जाएगी, पानी बनकर बह जाएगी। एक और आखिर छोटी सी नज्म है, ये पेश करता हूँ। उखबा की तन्हाइयाँ, उखबा का मतलब द आफ्टरवर्ल्ड, द लोनलीनेस ऑफ द आफ्टरवर्ल्ड। दरख्तों की पनाहों में छुपा होगा कहीं कोई प्यार का दरिया, दरख्तों की पनाहों में छुपा होगा कहीं कोई प्यार का दरिया, किसी चश्मे गिजाले यास की तन्हाइयों में भटकता फिर रहा होगा कोई नादीदा सा जलवा, अदम में लाख ढूंढेंगे ऐसे पर हो गई होगी कहीं उखबा, लम्हा लम्हा ऊद करती आ रही होगी हर तरफ दुनिया, किसी उखबा की बातें मैं नहीं करता, किसी उखबा की बातें मैं नहीं करता, किसी दुनिया की बातें मैं नहीं करता, हर एक लफ्ज के रिश्ते से, हर तखील की बूबात से, हर आशना अलहुर्फ से हो गया तन्हा, हर आशना अलहुर्फ से हो गया तन्हा, दरख्तों की पनाहों में छुपा होगा कहीं कोई प्यार करता। थैंक यू।
बहुत बढ़िया खलील मामून साहब। एक तरफ पर हम अंग्रेजी, हम इंग्लिश की कविताओं को सुन रहे हैं और उसी के बीच हम उर्दू जैसे एक दूसरे लिपि में, एक दूसरी भाषा में हम जाते हैं और हमें समझ में आ जाता है कि कितना बहुत है आपके ओवरऑल इस एक्सप्रेशन से बहुत सारे लोगों को समझने के लिए। What's really more inspiring for today's generation when it comes to Urdu poetry is the fact that Urdu really is the universal language of love. It is definitely one of the most progressive and one of the most important lyrical poetry for not just our generation but for the generation as well. While I have been enjoying writing and curating poetry for the past several years, today gives me great joy to share my poems amongst such distinct voices. Obviously, I'll be reading my Marathi poem. So once again, the fulcrum is now going to change from Urdu to Marathi. But I'm extremely glad to have been sharing my Marathi poems along with Shaleen, along with Huzaifa and Khalil. I will be reading my English poems first. I'll be reading my Marathi poems first, which will be followed by translations done so beautifully by Rochelle Potkar. My first poem for today is called Plaster of Paris. A little bit of context here. There's Ganpati festival, which is right around the corner. And today, in today's time, even this festival has taken a different meaning altogether. So I'm trying to question the purpose of having such a festival and what goes behind it. Plaster of Paris, काही तुकडे. Plaster of Paris किंवा CaSO4.2H2O ह्याला आम्ही दरवर्षी घरात विकत आणतो देव समजून. संस्कृतीचा तोकडा खिसा घेऊन आम्ही कारखान्यात जातो. मूर्त्यांकडे पाहतो जसे पाहू रांगेत बसवलेल्या गरीब शाळकरी मुलांकडे. एका क्षणासाठी भास होतो त्या देवाचा. त्या 20 इंची भासाचे पैसे मोजतो आणि मूर्ती बुक करतो. प्लास्टर ऑफ पॅरिसची मूर्ती निर्विकार बघते आमच्या पाठमोऱ्या शरीराकडे. जसा देह दिसतो शेवटचा श्वास सुटल्यावर, आई मात्र म्हणते मूर्तीला फार तेज आहे. घरात पाहुणे येतात, नातेवाईक बितेवाईक, सारेच प्लास्टर ऑफ पॅरिस सारखे मख्ख. बोलूनही काहीच बोलत नाहीत. बाहेर आरती, आत आई बाबा भांडतायत. आरत्या आणखीन जोरात बेंबीच्या देठातून. आरतीच्या शेवटी स्वतःची समजूत घालतो, ह्याने देव खुश होतो. एक काका येतो, फारसं काहीच बोलत नाही. आरतीचं ताट ओवाळतो आणि जेवून निघून जातो. खूप आधी कळलं काका दाऊदच्या गँगमध्ये काम करायचा, क्रिमिनल आहे. तसंच आता कळतं गणपती नाही, CaSO4.2H2O आहे. दोन्ही सत्यच प्लास्टर ऑफ पॅरिस सारखी क्षुल्लक. सर्वांच्या देखत मूर्तीला बुडवलं जातं. लहान मोठ्यांच्या डोळ्यात पाणी बिणी. पाटावर ओली माती मिळते. मातीची पूजा केली जाते. त्यातल्या त्यात मातीला प्लास्टर ऑफ पॅरिसचा दर्जा मिळतो. तेवढंच काय ते भूमातेला समाधान वगैरे. पर्यावरणाला हानी नको म्हणून ह्या वर्षापासून घरात शाडूची मूर्ती आणणार आहोत. शाडू पाण्यात विरघळतो आणि जाणीव येतही. नव्या मातीशी नवा खेळ खेळतोय. नव्या मातीशी नवा खेळ खेळतोय. मातीला विकत घेतोय. मातीलाच पाण्यात सोडतोय. मातीचं सत्य मातीमध्येच पुरतोय. मातीचं सत्य मातीमध्येच पुरतोय. Now here's the translation by Rochelle Potkar. Plaster of Paris, a few pieces. Plaster of Paris, or CaSO4.2H2O. We bring it home every year thinking it as God. With a hollow purse of culture, we go to the workshop to survey the clay idols. Like a row of chastened, impoverished school children. For a moment, we sense divinity in them. We measure the price of the 20-inch make-believe and book our idol. The plaster of Paris sculpture watches us go, staring impassively at our receding backs, the way our bodies would regard the last breath when it vanishes. Mother, however, remarks that the idol looks beatific. Visitors drop by the house, relatives, shelatives, all as plastic as plaster of Paris, speaking nothing, even if they speak much. Outside, it's Aarti prayer time. Inside, mother, father argue. The Aarti ups in volume, propelled from our guts and navels. After the Aarti, I convince myself that with this, God has become glad. An uncle turns up who doesn't speak much. He circumcircles God with the Aarti's tray, has dinner, and leaves. Only later do we realize he worked in Don Dowd's gang, hardcore criminal. Like now we know, Ganesha not. It's CaSO4.2H2O. Both are gospel truths, but like gypsum, insoluble and trivial. In the presence of everyone, the idol is immersed. Young to old people are misty, shifty-eyed. On the wooden pedestal, we get back a residue of riverbed. We worship the clump of mud. The mud gets the status of the plaster of Paris, appeasing, shappeasing, Mother Earth, etc. No damage to the environment. So from this year onward, we will bring home an idol of pipe clay. Pipe clay dissolves tamely into water and consciousness. With new mud, we'll play a new game. We'll buy mud. We'll let it dissolve in water. The earth's truth buried into the earth itself. The earth's truth buried into the earth itself. Thank you. So that was my first poem. My second poem is about my grandmother. आपल्या सगळ्यांकडे एक आजी असते, एक फार सुंदर अशी आजी असते. माझ्याकडेही आहे आणि मला माझ्या आजीमध्ये खूप सारी कविता दिसते. I see a lot of poetry in her creases, in her skin, in her ears, and in her understanding and love. So this poem is for my grandmother. आजी कवितेची ओळ. आजीच्या सुरकुत्यांमध्ये दडली आहेत बालपणातली असंख्य पावलं. भूतकालीन शेणानं सारवलेल्या ओसरीपासून वर्तमान काळाच्या वरांड्यापर्यंत चालत जाणारी. माझी आजी मृत्यूला जगण्याचं फूल वाहत असते दर पहाटे. ती स्वार होते श्लोक म्हणत वास्तवाच्या यानात आणि रोज हरवून जाते शहराच्या ढिगाऱ्यात. आजीच्या ताज्या आठवणींचे देठ उगवलेत आमच्या संस्कृतीत. बाबा लिहित असतात काहीतरी शहराबद्दल, कवींबद्दल, घरांबद्दल, स्वतःच्याच तुटत चाललेल्या आतड्यांबद्दल. आजी मात्र गुपचूप शहर होत जाते बाबांच्या कवितेत, किंवा चिमणी होऊन बसते बाबांच्या कुठल्याशा ओळीवर. आजीची कातडी मी जपून ठेवली आहे माझ्या कवितेत. आजीची कातडी मी जपून ठेवली आहे माझ्या कवितेत. रोज तिची एक सुरकुती काढून एक कविता लिहितो. आजही तेच केले आहे. आजही तेच केले आहे. Grandma, a line from a poem. In Grandma's wrinkles are embedded various footmarks of my childhood, running from cow-dung-plastered courtyards of the past up until the polished verandas of the present. Grandma puts forth a flower of life to death every dawn. Soto-voicing shlokas, she wades through the transit vessel of instancy and gets lost every day into the thoroughfare of the city. The stems of her fresh memories have cultured into our blood-vein civilization. Father continues to write about the city, about its poets, its houses, about the brink of breakage bones in his body. My grandma, however, unspeakingly begins to expand into a city in Father's poems, or transforms into a sparrow perched on one of his lyrical lines. I have prudently salvaged Grandma's sloughed bark. Every day I peel off one of her wrinkles and uncrease a poem. Today too, I have done the same thing. My third and my final poem for this session is called Flash. We have been wondering why are so many natural calamities hitting us at the worst time of mankind. And maybe through this poem, I've tried finding the answer to it, but just maybe. आता निसर्ग. आता निसर्ग कुठल्याही क्षणी गोष्टी आपल्या हातात घेईल. आता निसर्ग कुठल्याही क्षणी गोष्टी आपल्या हातात घेईल. येईल कुठल्याही क्षणी वादळ, येईल कधीही सुनामी. नद्यांनाही पूर येईल किंवा भूकंप येईल आणि तडे जातील पृथ्वीच्या आत्म्याला. का? कारण जेरुसलेम मधल्या त्या लहान मुलाच्या 2 डोळ्यांच्या मधोमध जेव्हा बंदूक रोखून धरली हात ट्रिगरवर, तेव्हा तो एवढंच बोलला, वर गेल्यावर देवाला तुमचं नाव सांगेन. वर गेल्यावर देवाला तुमचं नाव सांगेन. मानवतेवर एवढं भीषण कधीच कुणी थुंकलं नव्हतं. त्यामुळे कारण शोधू नका घड्याळं बंद पडली की. मुकाट्यानं, अगदी मुकाट्यानं झोपी जा. तुमच्या देहाला त्या लहान मुलाची हाक समजून. तुमच्या देहाला त्या लहान मुलाची हाक समजून. Flash. Now, in any instance, nature will take control from our hands. At any moment will come a storm, will come a tsunami. Rivers will flood or be lambasted by earthquakes. And fissures will form over the earth's soul and surface. Because in Jerusalem, that small boy, when hounded with a gun's barrel between his 2 eyes, a finger on the trigger, said just this much. I'm going to tell God everything. On humanity, never such devastation was spat. That's why don't search for reasons when clocks freeze time. Soundlessly, just soundly sleep, thinking of your body as a response to the teeny boy's last cry. I'm feeling so happy and so grateful to Yumna Hari Singh, Rochelle Potkar, Somrita Urni Ganguly, Aditya Angiras, and the entire curatorial team of Glasshouse Festival for hosting such a beautiful session and for making our lives much, much better in times of this pandemic. I really wish and I hope that all of you not just stay for this session, but for all the 3 days of the festival and learn and earn the best of words, the best of poetry. Signing off for today's session, this is Sanket Mhatre, your moderator once again. Thank you so much for being a part of Glasshouse Festival, and please be there for the rest of the sessions as well. Our pre-recorded session is now over, and now you can follow the Zoom link for the live Q&A. Thank you.